Cardi B and Stef Diggs finally reveal why they didn't choose to marry. For months, fans had been confused, frustrated, and suspicious. Cardi B and Stefon Diggs, after everything they had been through, the babies, the fights, the reconciliations, the late-night hospital visits, the confessions, the cheating accusations, the reconciliations again, still had not said, "I do." And every time they were asked about the wedding, they dodged the question. But today was different. Today, Cardi B and Stefon Diggs finally sat down together for a joint exclusive interview, streamed globally, with more than 19 million viewers watching live. Cardi wore a simple black top, no jewelry, no diamonds, nothing flashy, nothing distracting. Her face was serious. Stef sat beside her, his fingers locked together tightly, his jaw stiff, eyes already glossy. Everyone knew something big was coming. Something deep. Something painful. And they were right. The interview begins, and immediately gets emotional. The interviewer leaned forward. "Cardi. Stef, people love you both. They've prayed for this relationship to work. But everyone keeps asking the same question. Why, after everything, are you two still not married?" There was a long silence. Cardi swallowed hard. Stef breathed in deeply. Cardi finally spoke first. "Because." Her voice cracked. "Because love wasn't our only problem." Stef looked down, rubbing his thumb over his palm, fighting the urge to wipe his eyes. Cardi B reveals her first fear: "I didn't want another failed marriage." Cardi inhaled sharply. "You know what scares me? Not the wedding. Not the ring. Not the fans. Not the blogs. What scares me is making the same mistake twice." She paused, blinking fast to keep tears from spilling. "I gave everything in my last marriage. I really tried. And I still failed. And it broke something inside me, something I'm still trying to fix. So even when Stef said he wanted to marry me, even when he got the ring, I wasn't ready. I wasn't healed." Stef placed his hand gently over hers, and she didn't pull away. She whispered, "I didn't want to take my trauma into a new marriage." Her voice dropped even lower. "And I didn't want to hurt him." The audience watching from all over the world went silent. Twitter froze. YouTube comments stalled. Everyone felt that. Stef Diggs reveals his secret: "I wasn't protecting her right." Stef cleared his throat, and his voice was shaky. "When I asked Cardi to marry me, I wasn't the man I needed to be. I wasn't proud of myself. I wasn't protecting her the way a man should. I was still dealing with personal demons. I was hiding my stress, my mental health struggles, my pressure from the NFL, and my insecurity." He looked at Cardi with a soft, guilty expression. "I wasn't ready to be her husband. Not the way she deserved. Not with the distractions. Not with the rumors. Not with the women who kept lying on my name. I didn't want her walking into a marriage with a man who wasn't fully present." Cardi squeezed his hand this time. "You were present," she whispered. Stef shook his head. "Not enough. The real reason, the part they never told anyone." The interviewer leaned forward again. "So, you weren't ready. Both of you. But that still doesn't explain why you never set a future date. Why you never talked about it publicly. Why you kept it secret." And then Cardi said something nobody expected. Something that made Stef Diggs bow his head as his shoulders shook. Something that made Cardi wipe her face repeatedly as tears rolled down her cheeks. Because the real reason was deeper than fear. Deeper than insecurity. Deeper than timing. It was about someone else entirely. Someone tiny. Fragile. And loved. The baby they lost. Cardi closed her eyes, and a heavy silence fell over the room. "The real reason we didn't get married," she whispered, "is because we lost a baby." Stef pressed his fingers to his lips, eyes red, fighting to stay composed. Cardi wiped her tears again. Nobody knew. We didn't tell the world. We didn't want to see headlines. We didn't want to make it a spectacle. It was ours. A pain we carried alone. Stef finally spoke, voice broken. When you lose something like that, it changes everything. Suddenly you're not thinking about tuxedos or venues. You're thinking about breathing. About healing. About surviving. And we chose, Cardi said softly, to deal with the grief before we dealt with the wedding. Millions watching broke down crying. This was the truth they had kept hidden for months. The biggest conflict, they blamed themselves. Cardi shook her head, voice trembling. We both blamed ourselves. I blamed myself for working too hard. He blamed himself for stressing me out. We kept apologizing for something neither of us caused. And that kind of guilt, it builds a wall. Stef nodded slowly. We stopped talking about marriage. Not because we didn't want it, but because the thought of planning a wedding while we were grieving felt wrong. He exhaled heavily. So we stopped. We shut down. We buried everything inside. The breakdown that almost ended them. Cardi looked down at her hands. There was a night, after everything, when I told him maybe we should take a break. Stef's eyes widened, like the memory still hurt. I thought she was leaving me, he murmured. Cardi sniffed. I wasn't trying to leave. I was trying to protect myself. I was hurting. I was angry at life. I felt empty. I didn't know how to be a partner. And he didn't know how to help me. Stef added. We slept in separate rooms for 2 weeks. We barely talked. We were living like ghosts. That part shocked everyone. Nobody had known how close they came to breaking. The moment everything changed. And then Cardi shared the turning point. One night, I woke up and heard him crying in the living room. Stef looked away, embarrassed. I saw him sitting in the dark, holding the baby's ultrasound picture. And he kept whispering, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Cardi's tears flowed again. That's when I realized, we were both hurting separately. And if we didn't come back together, we were going to lose each other too. She walked to him that night, sat beside him, and the two of them cried for nearly an hour. That was when we decided, she whispered, that we weren't ready for marriage, but we were ready to heal. Together. So why tell the world now? Stef lifted his head. Because rumors were destroying her. And the silence was destroying me. So it's time people know the truth. Cardi nodded. I don't want people thinking we're confused or unserious. We chose not to marry because we were hurting. Not because we didn't love each other. She took Stef's hand again, this time tighter, more intentional. And now, she added softly, we're healing. Slowly. Carefully. But together. Stef looked into her eyes, finally smiling gently. And when we're ready, we'll try again. Cardi smiled back. Marriage isn't cancelled. It's just not rushed. The final message to fans. Cardi wiped her tears and looked straight into the camera. Family isn't about a wedding date. Family is about surviving storms together. And we survived. Stef nodded. And when the time comes, y'all gon' be the first to know. They leaned into each other as the cameras flashed, their fingers intertwined, their energy softer, calmer, finally at peace with the truth. Below is your very long, dramatic, emotional, YouTube-ready fictional story about Cardi B and Stefon Diggs finally revealing why they didn't choose to marry. It's packed with twists, tension, secrets, and deep emotional moments, perfect for your channel. Cardi B and Stefon Diggs finally reveal why they didn't choose to marry, the full truth. For months, fans have been left confused, frustrated, and eating popcorn as they watched Cardi B and Stefon Diggs' relationship move from romance to chaos to pure mystery. They had babies together. They were spotted house hunting. Cardi was seen wearing a ring. Stefon's family kept posting cryptic messages. Offset was throwing subliminals from every direction. And yet, no wedding. No date. No engagement announcement. Nothing. Today, for the first time ever, Cardi B and Stefon Diggs sat down and revealed the real reason they never chose to marry, and it is far deeper, darker, and more complicated than anyone expected. What started as a perfect love story turned into a battle between trauma, fear, loyalty, trust, fame, and family pressure. This is the full story. Chapter 1, The Love That Wasn't Supposed to Happen. Cardi met Stefon during a private Rock Nation event where she performed a short set. She wasn't supposed to stay after the show. She wasn't in the mood for cameras or interactions. But something pulled her to the rooftop lounge before she left. That's where she met Stefon Diggs, alone, hoodie on, drink untouched, scrolling through his phone with that familiar serious look. Stefon later admitted, "I wasn't looking for nobody. I told myself I wasn't dating no more. But when she walked in, it felt like life tapped me." Cardi laughed when she remembered that night, but her eyes told the truth. "I was getting out of a dark period. I was done with love, or at least I thought. Then I saw him, and something in me said, 'Don't run.'" They talked for 3 hours straight. No cameras. No pressure. Just two souls trying to breathe again. Chapter 2, The Secret Relationship That Grew Too Fast. Both of them knew the public would explode if they went public too early. Offset was already watching. The NFL news blog stalked Stefon's every move. Cardi was already dealing with rumors left and right. So they kept it hidden. But behind closed doors, they were falling headfirst. Stefon cooked for her. Cardi helped him decompress after games. He bonded with her kids. She flew to surprise him before big matchups. They became inseparable. And that's when the first cracks appeared. Cardi confessed, "We started getting serious too fast. And when you rush healing, you create wounds you didn't even know existed." Chapter 3, The Families Who Didn't Approve. Stefon comes from a close family, deeply protective, deeply opinionated, and deeply skeptical of celebrity relationships. At first, they loved Cardi's vibe. But then, whispers started. Questions. Doubts. Is this real? Is this a rebound? Is she ready for marriage? Are her public controversies going to hurt your career? Stefon tried to hide how much it bothered him, but the truth came out today. "My family didn't trust the situation. They thought it was too fast, too loud, too risky. I felt like I had to choose." Cardi's face fell remembering those moments. "I felt like I was begging people to accept me when I already gave my whole heart." But her side wasn't easier. Cardi's mother, her sister Hennessy, even her cousins. They were scared she was rushing. They worried Stefon might hurt her like Offset did. They worried she was chasing comfort, not clarity. They worried she was vulnerable. Cardi admitted through tears, "My family wasn't against him, they were scared for me." Two families. Two sets of worries. Two worlds that refused to blend. Chapter 4, The Proposal That Never Happened, and Why. Stefon revealed something that shocked everyone watching the interview. "I bought a ring." Yes. He had the ring. He had the plan. He had everything ready. He was going to propose to Cardi during an intimate dinner in Miami. But something stopped him. He said quietly, "I realized she wasn't happy, not the way a woman thinking about marriage should be. She was stressed, tired, and scared. I saw it." Cardi didn't deny it. Her voice cracked. "I was terrified. I've been through too much. I didn't want to fail again. She wasn't scared of Stefan. She was scared of marriage itself. She felt marriage meant losing herself. Being expected to be perfect. Being watched 24/7. Being compared to her past. Being judged if it failed. Being blamed if it succeeded. Cardi tearfully admitted, "I ain't know how to be a wife, not yet."